That's okay, Njabulo, don't worry. Sometimes these things happen. Hi, Uko, nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Please try the do now. We're going to convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions just while we're waiting for everybody to join us, and then we can get started on our lesson.
Ma'am, may you please zoom in into the mixed numbers, ma'am? Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just realized that that might be a little bit small. Is that a bit better? Can you see that a bit better?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry that was a bit small. Now, I must just also apologize. This is not a minus. It's just something that got cut off something else. So just ignore that minus there. Okay, it's not a minus. There we go. That looks better. Okay, hopefully everybody can see now.
Ma'am, what exactly do you do in the second question?
Okay, it was exactly the same as the first one. So all I want you to do is make it into an improper fraction. Do you remember how to do that from the last time that we were together?
No, ma'am, not that one. The second one.
The second one. You mean this one over here? Okay. All right. So with this one over here, an equivalent fraction. Do you remember we were talking last time about equivalent fractions? All right. So in other words, it's going to be something that has the same basic value, but there are different numbers. So when I said to you, how many equivalent fractions can you find for this fraction? What I was hoping is that somebody would say, well, what I can do is I can multiply the top by 2 and get 4, and I can multiply the bottom by 2 and I can get 10. So that would be one equivalent fraction. Then somebody else might come along and say, okay, well, what happens if we multiply 2 by 5 and we get 10, and we multiply 5 by 5 and we get 25? All right, so I was just going to get you to play with the numbers a little bit. Or maybe somebody else comes along and says, no, I want to multiply by 10. So 2 times 10 is 20. Over 5 times 10 is 30.
Ma'am?
Indeed. Yes, Njabulo?
Ma'am, is there a specific number that your denominator has to be, or it can be any?
No, it can be anything. It could be anything.
Okay, ma'am.
It could be anything. It's just a little bit of practice of playing with numbers and multiplying and that kind of thing. And then I thought we could maybe talk about them and see all the different ones that you guys had come up with. Okay, grade 7s. Well, I think that's about enough time for us to spend on what we've got started on. If you were still busy with that, it doesn't matter. I just want to make sure that we've got enough time to be able to do what I had set up for us today. Because again, it's not something I'm sure whether you've done in grade 7 or not, but even if you haven't, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now I would like to ask, all right, Jacob, can you please tell me what you got as the improper fraction for 2 4/5? What did you end up with as an answer, Jacob? So you can either pop it into the chat or you can unmute your mic. It's up to you. Jacob, can you hear me? Maybe Jacob can't hear what I'm saying. All right. What about you, Baja? What did you get for 2 and 4 over 5? Apollo says
I got 14 over 5.
you got 14 over 5. I agree with you. That's what I would have got as well. Okay, so Mapalo, you said 28. How did you get 28, Mapalo? I'm not 100% sure. What we were supposed to do is exactly as Baja was just saying. Now we've got to multiply 5 and 2 together. So 5 times 2. And then we've got to remember to add 4. Okay, and then all of that has got to go over 5. Okay, so 14 over 5 was indeed 100% correct. Okay, well done, Baja. That was great. Let's see who else we can call on. All right, Priscilla, what about you? What did you get for the second one? 3 and 3/10. What's that as an improper fraction? Did you get an answer, Priscilla? No, is there anybody who, 33? Yes, that would be at the top. Hey, Mapalo. All right, what needs to go at the bottom? Okay, Priscilla, it doesn't matter.
10.
10, that's well done. Okay, so 10 needs to go at the bottom. So again, the same process, and this is going to be super important for you when you go to high school next year. You've got to be able to make mixed numbers into improper fractions in order to be able to work with them. Okay, so 10 times 3 is 30. 30 plus 3 is 33. That goes at the top, and our 10 goes at the bottom. All right, so when it came to making equivalent fractions, did anybody get something other than what I've got on the board? Anybody get another number over another number that you want to share with us?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Go for it. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Pumzile, go first.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, I timed each fraction times 2 times 3 times 4.
Oh, wow. So you've been busy, haven't you, Pumzile?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you times by 2 and you times by 2, you would have got the same answer as me over here. And then you
14.
times by, exactly. And when you times by 3 and by 3, what did you get?
12 over 30.
12 over
30.
30.
Yes.
Okay, so what were you timesing by there? You were timesing by 4. No, can't be.
yeah.
Oh, you were timesing by 6. You were timesing by 6. Okay, no, that's perfect. 100%. 100%. That's perfect. Well done. Okay, then there was somebody else, Pumzila. I don't know who else was talking when you was at Tumelo. Anybody else get a
ma'am, I was
different?
No, ma'am, I was just saying I got the same answer as yours.
Oh, okay, that's fine. No problem. All right, so some of you were really brave. So here in the chat, Uko says you used 20. That's fabulous. So what did you get, Uko?
Ma'am, I said 20 multiplied by 2, then it gave me 40, and 5 multiplied by 20 gave me 100. So the fraction was 40 over 100.
Brilliant. That's lovely. I really like that. Good girl. Okay. And then Mapalo was also really brave. You said times 8, Mapalo. So you times the top by 8 and you said you got 16. And then you times the bottom by 8 and you got 40. Well done, everybody. That's really, really nice. And stuff like this is actually very good for us because it helps us with our times tables, which we need to know so well. Okay, so what I want us to do is move on and talk about multiplying fractions. Now, first of all, before I get started, who's done multiplying fractions at school? Good, Njabulo, I'm so glad.
Ma'am.
So if you could, you've done it, Tumelo, okay. So Trevor has, who else? So Uko has, cool, Pumzile has, Mapalo has. Okay. Okay, Jamisha, thank you very much. Okay, so maybe then we can do, because I want this to be beneficial to you. Also, maybe we can do some questions that are a little bit more difficult. But let's just see how it goes. Okay, so first things first, maybe we won't do that one, but let's just see what happens here. When we want to multiply a whole number with a fraction, so the whole number being the 2 and the fraction being 20 over 3, does anybody or can anyone tell me what am I supposed to do in a situation like this?
Many times
Ma'am?
2, you take 2 times. You say 2 times 20 plus 3.
Plus 3. Okay, so Tumelo is saying I've got to say 2 times 20 plus 3. Is that what you were saying, Tumelo? Okay, that's all right.
Yes, ma'am.
Does somebody else have a different suggestion? Does somebody else think we should do
Yes,
something
ma'am.
different?
I
Okay.
say you must.
Okay, Anel?
I said that you must like put the 2 over 1.
Oh, okay. So what were you going to say, Njabulo?
Ma'am, I was gonna say you have to find the denominator for 2.
Oh, so what would your denominator for 2 be?
It would be 1, ma'am.
It would be 1. Okay. So, Mapalo, this is where it's so easy for us to get confused. Okay. So, unfortunately, Tumelo, this is not what we would do here. We were only going to be adding if we were making a mixed number into an improper fraction. But you had the first part right, and that was 100% perfect. Okay. So, when it comes to multiplying fractions, right? If you want to put the 2 over 1, that's 100% perfect, because then you can see very clearly what number is in the numerator and what number is in the denominator. Then we're going to multiply, okay? And we're going to put 20 at the top and we're going to put 3 at the bottom. So the rule is when we multiply fractions, okay, we've got to multiply numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator. Okay, that's how it works. All right, so we multiply. I don't know if you want to write this down for yourselves. Multiply, unless you knew this, multiply numerator with numerator. Okay, and then multiply denominator with denominator. Okay, so in many ways, multiplying fractions is actually the easiest thing that we can do. Right, and then you're going to see later on, Mapalo, where we use cross multiplying, but unfortunately, it's not here when it's multiplying fractions. Okay, so we're going to multiply 2 by 20, and we're going to end up with 40 at the top. At the bottom, we're going to say 1 times 3, and we're going to end up with 3 at the bottom. In primary school, perhaps they expect you to then write 40 over 3 as a mixed number. If they expected you to do that, then I'm going to ask Tumisho, do you know how you would then write that as a mixed number?
Ma'am, may I please repeat the question?
With pleasure. So Tumisho, if you were then had to write 40 over 3 as a mixed number again, how would you work out what to write? What would you have? So now it's an improper fraction. If you wanted to go backwards and make it a mixed number, what would you do?
I would put 2.
You'd put, where would you put 2?
Ma'am, in front of the 40 over 3.
In front of the 40 over 3. Okay. Why would you put 2 there, Tumisho?
Ma'am, because I multiplied it by 2.
Indeed, indeed. But if we want to take this and we want to make it into a mixed fraction, what we've got to do is we've got to work out how many times does 3 go into 40. Right, and that's going to be our whole number. So that means we need to know our times tables. There we go, Mapalo. Mapalo said 13. Exactly.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
3, that's good. Well done. So 3 goes into 40, 13 whole times. Good. What's left over? 3 times 13 is 39. And then we have to say 40 minus 39 leaves us with 1.
One.
So that's it. Okay. So if they expected us to go back and go and write it like that, that's how we would do that. Now, at high school, you don't have to do that. At high school, you're allowed to leave your answers like this. But for now, I think you've just got to listen to whatever it is that your teacher tells you. All right. But then when you get to grade 8, we can talk a little bit more about those. All right. So let's have a look at these. So there's a couple of sort of slightly more challenging questions here that I thought that we could speak about. Okay, let's do a fraction multiplied by a fraction. Okay, so remember the rule is we multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. Okay, so Trevor, you do this one for us at the top. What should I write? Can you hear me, Trevor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I would say that the answer is 6 out of 24.
X out of 24. Now, Trevor, I just need to move the board over a little. Why 24 at the bottom, Trevor?
Oh wait, ma'am. You were talking about those 3 numbers there, like right next to 6 times 1 over 3.
These numbers over here.
But we're doing that one.
Okay, sorry. No, I beg your pardon, Trevor. I was talking about this question over here. So this question over here where I'm just writing next to it right now, we would have 6 at the top, I agree. And then at the bottom, what should we have, Trevor?
The answer would be 14 at the bottom.
It would be 6 over 14. And at your school, Trevor, would it be okay for you to leave your answer as 6 over 14? Or would your teacher tell you you have to simplify?
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
from my understanding, I would say they have to simplify.
Yes, you are quite right. We do have to simplify. So that's really, really important.
The answer has to be 3 out of 7.
3 out of 7. Good. So what did you divide the top and the bottom by, Pumzile?
I
Times
divided
2.
it by 2.
Good. Well done. So 3 out of 7. And now it is in simplest form. Well done. That's perfect. All right. So now what I want us to do is let's have a look at this one that's in the middle of the screen right now. There are 3 fractions here. So I'm talking about this particular question, which I'll call number 2. Okay. So do we think that the rule is going to change just because there's 3 fractions that are all in a row? Or do we think we should just carry on doing what we know is correct? Stembiso, what do you think?
I might say we should carry on.
Exactly, absolutely. So what numbers are we going to multiply together at the top?
Ma'am, we're going to multiply 2 over 3 times 1 over 2.
And then we've got to...
Then we have to figure out the answer. Then we should multiply with the last fraction.
Absolutely. Do you know that we can actually do this all in one go? So what we can do is we can say, there we go, Mapalo, that's quite right. So at the top, so in the numerator, we can say 2 times 1 times 3. And then in the denominator, we're allowed to say 3 times 2 times 4. Okay, so what are we going to have in the numerator? Indeed, 6.
Six, ma'am.
Good. 6 indeed. And what are we going to have in the denominator, grade 7s?
24.
24.
Beautiful. And are we going to be
Ma'am?
allowed to leave? Yes.
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am, the answer has to be simplified, so it has to be 1/4.
Wow, you guys are amazing. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Ma'am, can you cross simplify? Can you cross simplify?
And now you can. If you wanted to, in a situation this when you mean cross simplify, I understand what you're trying to say. What you could do is you could say 2 goes into itself once and it goes in here once as well. And you could say 3 goes into itself once over here and it goes into itself once over there. And we'd end up with the same answer. 1 times 1 times 1 at the top would give us this one over here. And then 1 times 1 times 4 at the bottom would give us 4 at the bottom. So you're allowed to do that when you're multiplying and dividing. You're not allowed to do it when you are adding and subtracting. Okay, but good. Well done for pointing that one out. Excellent. All right, so let's give you a little bit of practice with that. And then I want us to go and have a look at some really, really difficult questions. In fact, I wonder if these ones are even difficult enough for you because you guys are so clever. Hang on a second. Yeah, here we go. That's what I want us to have a look at. Okay, so let's see how many you can do in 2 minutes. All right, so start at number 1 and work your way down towards number 8, and I'm going to time you guys.
Ma'am, may I ask a question?
Of course, Pumzile, anytime.
I was wondering, when you simplify a fraction, isn't it the same value as the answer you've got? So is it necessary?
Yes, Pumzile, that's a really good point, because when you're simplifying it into an equivalent fraction. But what we like to do in maths is we always like to give our answers in the simplest form possible. So let's say you end up with an answer like 5 over 10. 5 over 10 is a half, isn't it? It really is. But your teacher will expect you to be able to simplify it to 1 over 2. Okay, so you should always try and do that. But you're quite right. Whether you write 1 over 2 and someone else writes 5 over 10 and somebody else writes 10 out of 20, we're all talking about the same value at the end of the day. But for some reason, we always want things in simplest form. You'll see when you get to high school, and certainly by the time you get to grade 11 and grade 12, they're not so fussy about that anymore and other things start to become important. But I think in grade 7 and grade 8 and grade 9, we need to simplify our fractions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I get it.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes,
can you
Timbi,
try explaining the questions for me?
Sure, Tumelo, are you struggling
Ma'am?
with the first one?
No, ma'am, can you please make me understand the question?
Okay, which question, Tumelo? Question number 1?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So what we're doing here, Tumelo, is we're busy practicing multiplying fractions. Okay, so when we multiply fractions, we've got to multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. Okay, so at the top here, we've got 3. At the top here, we've got 2. So 3 times 2 leaves us with? What are we going to get? 3 times 2 leaves us with?
6.
Indeed. So we've got 6 in the numerator. Okay, now we've got to do the denominator. So now let's go and see what's in the denominator. Okay, here we've got 5. Here we've got 3. Perfect. 5 times 3 is
15.
beautiful. Okay, well done, Katie. Quite right. Okay, so now, Tamelo, you've got to ask yourself, is there a number that goes into 6 that also goes into 15? Is 6 over 15 in simplest form?
No, ma'am.
No, it's not. What can we divide the top and the bottom by?
3.
Perfect. Quite right. So now we're going to divide the top by 3. What's that going to leave us at the top?
1.
It's going to leave us with 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2.
2.
Okay, perfect. So remember, now we're making equivalent fractions. We're just making them smaller. So last time we were making them bigger, now we're making them smaller. So now when I went from here to here, I divided by 3. What I did to the top, I've got to do to the bottom. So when I go from here to this one over there, I've got to do the same thing. I've got to divide by 3. So what number is going to go in the numerator?
5.
Beautiful. Well done. Good job. Okay, so that's what we were supposed to be doing here, Tumelo. Does that make a little bit more sense now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anybody who's managed to do all 8?
I'm
Yes,
done
ma'am.
with it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait 1 more minute. And then we can talk about the answers. And then I'm going to give each of you a chance to tell me what you got as an answer. Well done, Anel. That's really amazing. Good job. And if you didn't manage to do all of them, that's also fine as well. Okay, we just have to do our very best. We're not all the same. Not everybody can finish the same things in the same amount of time. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to call on you guys. So Katie, you're up first. You're going to tell us the answer for number 2. What did you get, Katie? Okay, Katie, did you hear me? All right, so if Katie can't hear me, I'm going to go to the next person. What about Kendra? Kendra, what did you get for number 2?
Five divided by 1.
5 divided by 1
Mhm.
gives you 5, and then 4 times
4 divided
6,
by 24.
4 divided by 24 gives you 6.
Okay, so 4 times 6 gives you 24. There you go. Perfect. Okay, well done. All right, and then I see Katie put her answer up as well. Excellent. Good job. All right, so now I'm going to ask, I want to give everybody a chance to be able to speak here. Okay, Mapalo, I'm going to ask you, what did you get for number 3? (8 over 27). Very good. Well done. So at the top, 4 times 2 is 8. 9 times 3 is 27. Good job. Okay, Njabulo, number 4 belongs to you. What did you get for number 4, Njabulo?
Ma'am, for number 4, I got 1 over 8.
Ma'am, can I bring the answer?
Okay, that's fine. Njabulo, we can ask you again later if you know what the answer is to 1. Okay, Pumzile, go for it.
5 out of 64.
5 out of 64, indeed. Okay, and did you see with the last 3, we didn't need to simplify anything because there were no common factors. There was nothing we could divide the top by that we could also divide the bottom by. Okay, like there was in the first one. Good, well done, Pumzile. That was perfect. Okay, Stembiso, number 5 belongs to you. What did you get for number 5, Stembiso?
Oh, ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get the answer for number 5.
You couldn't get, all right, that's fine. Should we do it together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so 8 is a whole number, all right? So the idea is to put 8 over 1.
1.
Okay, now Stembiso, multiply numerator with numerator. What are you going to get?
3 times 8 is 24, and 7
Beautiful.
times 1 is 7.
Fantastic. 100%. Well done. All right, you did it. Right. If they expected you to write that as a mixed number at school, all right, you would have to say to yourself, Stembiso, how many whole times does 7 go into 24? How many whole times will it go in? Quite right, Mapalo. Okay, it's going to go in 3 whole times, Stembiso, because 7 times 1 gives us 7. 7 times 2 is going to give us 14. 7 times 3 is going to give us 21. But if we did 7 times 4, it would be 28. So that would be too big. So 3 times 7 is 21. That means that there are 3 left over because the difference between 24 and 21 is 3. So it would be 3 and 3 over 7. Okay, good job. Well done. All right, Trevor, number 6 belongs to you. What did you get?
Ma'am, I got 12 over 45.
Hey, that's brilliant. Excellent. Well done. Now, can we leave 12 over 45, Trevor, or can that possibly be simplified?
Well, ma'am, I'm guessing that we can leave 12 out of 45.
Well, you know, maybe by the time you get to grade 11 or grade 12, they won't mind so much, but I think they'll expect you to simplify 12 out of 45. So this is where our times tables are so important. Do you know which number we can divide 12 by that we can also divide 45 by, if you think about it for a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
11, ma'am.
11. No,
3,
I don't
ma'am.
think. 3, that's right. That's right. Okay, so 12, unfortunately, is not in the 11 times table, and neither is 45, but 3 is. So I can divide by 3 at the top. 12 divided by 3 is going to leave us with?
4.
Indeed. Good. And we can do the same thing at the bottom. 45, and we can divide it by 3, and that's going to leave us with?
15, ma'am.
Good, well done. Okay, and Mapalo put that in the chat too. Okay, good job, well done. All right, so the next one, let's see who's next. Tumelo, you are next on my list. How are you feeling, Tumelo? You ready to do number 7?
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
Can I try number 7?
Okay, then maybe we'll let Tumelo do number 8. Okay, Uko, go. No problem. What did you get?
I've got 16 over 3.
Beautiful, well done. Do you like working with fractions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Good. Well done. Grade 7s, you are doing so nicely. I'm so proud of you. That's really, really great work. Okay, good job. So 16 over 3. And again, if they expected us to write that, because that's an improper fraction, if they expected us to write that as a mixed number, we would have to say to ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 16? So it's going to go in there exactly 5 whole times, because 5 times 3 is 15. So there's 1 left over. That's what goes in the numerator, and then 3 in the denominator. Okay, so then Tumelo, didn't I say that the last one, number 8, was going to be yours?
Yes, ma'am.
I did. Okay, so Tumelo, there you go. What did you get for number 8?
35 over 70.
35 over 70, very good. Okay. Do we think we can leave our answer as 35 over 70, or can we simplify? What do you think, Tumelo?
Simplify.
Indeed. So what would you divide the top and the bottom by? By?
5.
By 5, you could. Stembiso, what would you divide by?
I'll also divide by 5, ma'am.
You also divided by 5. And Jabulo said, ma'am, you also tried that. Do you know that there's a much bigger number that we can divide by? And then we
10.
1 half.
That's correct. The answer is going to be a half. Okay, so 35 is half of 70. Okay, so you can divide 35 by 35 and get 1. And you can divide 70 by 35 and you can get, oh, look at me, what am I writing here? And you can get 2.
True, ma'am.
7.
Indeed. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sure.
Yes, sure.
Good. All right. So now that you guys have done so well in these difficult questions, what I want us to do is I want us to go up here and have a look at these more difficult ones that I have found on the side. Okay. Has anybody done questions like this at school before, where you've had to multiply a mixed fraction with another mixed fraction? Okay, all right. Okay. So we're going to do number 2 at the top first. That's the one that I'm busy wiggling about at the moment. All right. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of my list, and I'm going to ask Katie. Don't know if you can hear me, and I hope you can. What would we do with 1 and 3 over 4 if we wanted to multiply it by 2 and 1 over 6? What do we have to do?
Ma'am, can I answer, ma'am?
Sure, in Jabulo, off you go, because Katie said she doesn't know. Okay, in Jabulo, what would you do?
Ma'am, first you say 4 times 1 plus 3.
Beautiful. And what would you end up with in Jabulo?
4 times 1, 4 plus 3. You'd end up with 7, ma'am.
Exactly. Perfect. Well done. So 7 at the top, and what's going to happen at the bottom?
7 over 4.
Beautiful. Good job.
And,
do you want to carry on going?
And then you say 6 times 2 plus 1.
Good. And that's going to leave you with?
13 over 6.
Excellent. Well done.
And then
Very good. All right. And then you've got to multiply them together. So this is a little bit of a difficult one, isn't it? Because now we have to multiply 13 by 7. Does anybody know what 13 times 7 is?
Yes, ma'am.
What's 13 times 7?
91.
Indeed, it's going to leave us with 91. Okay, good job. And then at the bottom, what are we going to end up with?
24.
Indeed, good. Well done, grade 7s. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And again, if they wanted us to write that as a whole number, we would be able to do that. How many times is 24 going to go into 91?
Ma'am, I think twice.
Okay. 3 times. Somebody else says 3. Okay, so 1 times
3 times.
24. It's going to go in 3 times. You're right. Okay, because 1 times 24 is 24. 2 times 24 is 48. 3 times 24 is going to give us 72. Okay, so now we've got to find the difference between 91 and 72. All right, and that's going to leave us with how much? 19? Over 24. Indeed. Good job. Okay, so now let's get you guys to do one all by yourselves. Okay, so there's number 3 in the middle of the screen. I'm going to ask you to do that on your own. Okay, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes. And then you have to end off. Yes.
I think I've got the answer.
Wow, already? That's amazing. Okay, well, I tell you what, just hang on a second. Let me just see if I've got another one that you can try. Aha, it's always nice to have extra work for people who finish a bit sooner. Okay, so Uko, we've done number 3 together. Well, I don't know what's happening to my numbering here. Why don't you try number 1 as well? And then we'll see what you get for that.
Okay, Mom.
Okay. Okay, Pumzila, you also say you're done. So you can also try number 1.
Done, ma'am.
Good job, Njabulo. Trevor says he's done too.
With both, ma'am.
Oh, with both. Okay, Njabulo, you're also Speedy Gonzalez. No problem. Good job, Pumzile. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask, okay, Katie, I remember the last time you said you felt like you didn't know what to do, all right? Done with number 3. Okay, good job, Uko. So if there's anybody that feels like Katie did, I hope with the explanations that we've had tonight that this makes a little bit more sense. All right, so as far as the first fraction is concerned, Katie, were you able to make that into an improper fraction? And if so, what did you get? Good, well done. 7 over? 7's at the top and what's at the bottom, Katie?
11.
11 at the bottom. Why do you have 11 at the bottom? It's got to be over. Where does your 11 come from?
Ma'am, it's over 2.
Ma'am,
It is. It is over 2. Okay, so Katie, you did the right thing at the top when you said 3 times 2 plus 1 is 7. And then like everybody else is saying, we've got to always keep the same denominator. So it's going to be over 2 like so. All right. So as far as the next one is concerned, what are we going to have here, Uko?
We're going to have 11 over 5.
11/5. Good job. Okay. And then Kendra, what are we going to have in our numerator in our answer?
Ma'am, can I talk?
Okay, Trevor, go for it.
75. I mean 77, sorry.
Beautiful. So I've got 77 at the top, and what have I got at the bottom?
10.
Beautiful. All right, that's really good. Well done, Trevor. You understand these so well. Okay, and then again, if I wanted to make that into a mixed number, how many times does 10 go into 77? It goes in 7 times. 7 left over and over 10 like that. Indeed. Good job. Okay. Pumzile, the next one. Can you please make 2 3/5 into an improper fraction for me?
65.
65? So remember, you're multiplying the bottom, the denominator, with the number in front, and then adding the numerator. Try it again.
Ma'am, wait, is it improper?
You'll be making it improper.
13/5, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Don't worry. We all make mistakes. No stress. 13/5. Good job. Mapalo, what about the second fraction? What's that going to be as an improper fraction? The mixed number.
5/3.
Well done. Okay, there we go. We nearly finished. All right. So now, that's what you were saying, Pumzila. You were busy saying the answer because it's 13 times 5, weren't you? And that's where you got the 65 from. Let me just move the board down. And then this is, whoopsie daisy, this is all we're going to have time for. Okay, so Pumzile told me the top. What needs to go at the bottom?
15.
15. Well done, Baja. That's quite right. And then, Baja, would we be able to simplify that? Would we be expected to simplify it?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, indeed we would. Okay, so what can we multiply? Sorry, what can we divide the top and the bottom by?
5. Then we could divide it by 5.
We could divide it by 5. Then we would end up with
6/5/15.
That's it. So 65/15 is correct. So that would give us 13/5. And then again, if they expected us to make that into a mixed fraction, 5 is going to go into 13 2 times, because 2 times 5 is 10. So 13 minus 10 is 3. That goes at the top and 5 goes at the bottom.
Wait,
Okay.
ma'am, I thought 15 divided by 5 was 3.
Yes.
I made that mistake on purpose, Trevor, to see who was watching. That's a joke I always tell my children at school. No, you're quite right, Trevor. I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit tired now. We need to have 3 at the bottom. Quite right. Well done. Good spot. Thank you very much. Okay, so Trevor's quite right. We divide the top by 5. We're going to divide the bottom by 5. So how many times is 3 going to go into 13? It's going to go in there 4 times. Good. Well done. At 1/3. Thank you, Trevor. Good job. Well spotted. Okay, and then that's all we've got time for. So I'm going to have to hand you back to Elzan. Big well done to all of you. That was a lovely lesson, and I hope you really enjoyed it as well.
Thanks, ma'am.
The pleasure.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thanks, ma'am.
The pleasure. Enjoy the
Thank you,
rest of
ma'am.
your week
Bye.
and your weekend.
Enjoy your
Bye.
day.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye,
Thank you.
ma'am.
You
Bye, ma'am.
too. Bye.
Okay.
Bye, ma'am. Enjoy your evening.
Guys,
You too. Thank you.
I want you all to give yourselves a big hand clap for your hard work today. Well done. We are very proud of you.
Absolutely.
So, after this amazing lesson, I'm sure you want to go and try out a few more
activities on your own, hey?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe they're a bit tired now.
Not, yes. I think that you all deserve a bit of a rest now because you've worked so hard. Let me just see if I can find the right lessons. But yeah, like I said, for all of you, well done for your hard work now. So let's see if I can share this. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, I got it. So, as you all can see that you have finished your second lesson of fractions. Well done. Today we did multiplying fractions with Lee. And next week, Tuesday, we will do dividing fractions. Okay. So I hope to see
Yay.
all your faces there. Yay! Tembiso is very excited. Timisho.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you know what to expect for next week. And something that you can also be very excited about for next week is the leaderboard. Okay, so we can see how hard you guys have been working even outside of class. So I'm excited to show you that. And then just to get the revision work, what you can do is you can go into your Watobi app and go into common fractions, as you all know. And then under multiply fractions, you will do multiplying fractions. Okay. So that's all that you need to do before our next lesson on Tuesday. And that is all from us. Thank you so much all for joining again. Thank you for your hard work. I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening and we'll see you
You
again
too,
on
ma'am.
Tuesday. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.